Now let's take a look at the trade recap of a stock in which I took today, which is Mitq. That's the only ticker I traded today. I only traded one stock. If you see on here, I did take an experimental trade on CARV. So I only traded Mitq. CARV was traded. I traded it out of my paper account. So with that said, let's get right into it. So Mitq, out of the gate, I did not have any stock to trade. I was trying to trade SPCE, but I didn't like the price action on SPCE early in the morning. Let me pull up SPCE real quick. So SPCE, and this was going to be a C plus setup stock. I just didn't like, it was a little bit too choppy right here out of the open. So I was like, you know what? I don't have patience to wait for this setup to open up. So I didn't trade SPCE today. But Mitq was on my Benzinga. The Benzinga guy announced that Mitq was halted. So I said, okay, and that's the Benzinga guy I'm just talking about.
IA will begin.
All right.
Its weekly reading.
So
natural gas.
Let me lower down his volume.
The expectation is for a build of 47 billion cubic feet.
So I'm going to lower down his volume. Okay. So he mentioned that Mitq was halted, but the problem is Mitq, I like to do my research of the stock before I even trade it. Mitq had no on Finviz. I use Finviz to do further research on Mitq. So if I bring Finviz here, I put in Mitq, but there was no information on Mitq. So I said, you know what? This is one time I'm going to trade this stock blind. So I knew was possibly going to be a low float stock. So it went into the category of my stocks in which I have on the bottom here. So I do have stocks that I'm experimenting on right here in the bottom, which are like low float stock. Then maybe in the future, maybe options. I have my A plus setup and C plus setup here. There was no opportunity for my A plus setup and C plus setup. So if you don't know what my A plus setup is or C plus setup, check my previous videos. I did talk about my A plus setup and my C plus setup. So basically, right out of the gate, there was a first halt right here at this on this particular stock. That was the first halt right here. So after the halt, I decided I was going to enter. So the stock opened back up at about this right here, about $5.75. So I said, okay, I was going to enter. So I wanted to see a break of this technical level, 621 right here. So I was looking for the break of this technical level, and on the tape gave me all the signals. The bids were stepping up. There was flurry of green print on the time and sales. So this is the time and sales, and the bids were stepping up. So I said, okay, this is a great opportunity to enter this particular stock. So I did enter, which was a great entry. As I entered, it went all the way to 675 for a second halt. So I waited after the second halt to take my profit. So as soon as the stock came out of the second halt, it went up a little bit. I wish I could have taken my profit right here at 725, but I was able to take my profit right here at about $7. Let me see, it was about $6.94. So right here, close to the $7 mark. So this was a great trade, and it was just the only setup that I saw today that I did like. CARV was also moving, and it was halted, but I didn't want to trade CARV, so I just went to do a test trade on my paper account for CARV to just see, because I just didn't like the spreads on CARV. So basically, my goal today was to identify a great setup with good entries. So I did well on good entries on the entry for this particular trade, Mitq. What I learned was that sometimes you're not going to have the setup to fit your A plus, C plus setup. So it's good to have experimental trades with lower share size that you're going to experiment, that you're going to eventually add to your playbook. And that's what I did. So what could I have done better in this trade? Okay. I think what I could have done better in this trade was also because it looks like this trade was shortable. I could have flipped my position, and that's something I talked about yesterday. I could have flipped my position on this particular trade, but I was just so focused on trading the long setup. Look at right here. I could have flipped my position and shorted this stock. Let's see if he has shares to short. So in actuality, yeah, right here you can tell if you're in daytrade Pro, but I don't know whichever software you're using should be able to give you the ability to tell you if a stock has shares to short. So right here I do have some shares to short with 150,000 shares, and so I should have shorted on the way down. So that's what I could have done better. So flip my position and also make profit off of this. So with that said, what I'm going to do is for tomorrow, because for my experimental trades I was just going to use low float stocks. What I'm going to do better is I'm going to now create a hotkey for going short for my experimental trades, because you never know, because I was just thinking that these trades are going to be just trades I'm going to go long. So but I can also short this particular stock. So that's what I could have done better, but entry was great. Momentum was great on the trade. And with that said, if you guys have any comments, concerns, questions, anything that you want to say about your trade, you can comment on the link below. Thank you.